So what is going on, guys? Today we are going to be addressing the oil leak. Hopefully we're going back and forth on what it could be, but we're going to check it out and see what's going on there. And we're also going to be looking at the motor mounts because unfortunately it was off camera, but I was doing some pulls. This whole side of the motor lifted up, and I feel like the only thing that stopped it from keep going was the strut brace. I couldn't see exactly how high it went up, but I know it definitely lifted pretty high. The intercooler piping and everything actually stayed on, which was good. It didn't come off there and everything was fine, but I just noticed that. And then if you look at the motor mount, which I'll try to show you in a second, you can see that it looks like it tore off, and I can actually sort of pry the motor up with a pry bar. So that's not good. So I actually have some Nismo motor mounts coming. I'm not sure when they're going to show up, but they're on their way. So once those get in, then we can do that. But I just want to confirm that that is the issue before we do that. I wanted to upgrade to Nismo motor mounts anyway, so that is why I ordered them. But at the same time, we needed them potentially. So we're going to find that out today. We're going to look at the oil leak, see what's going on there. Hopefully we don't have to drop the trans. Right there where that valve cover screw is, right there, that was covered in oil before, and oil was all on that ground, and oil is still all on the side of the motor. I think that that could have been the issue, because if you look down here, overnight I left this down there, and you can see it's got a drop there, a couple drops maybe, but it's not anything crazy. What I ended up doing was, once I saw that it was all dirty and everything there, just covered in oil, I took the valve cover off, and I noticed that I think I forgot to actually tighten the valve cover bolts. So I took it off and I cleaned both sides. I took a look at the gasket. Everything seemed good. The rubber's still soft, so I'm not going to replace it just yet unless that becomes an issue. And then when I put it back on, I tightened them down, starting from the middle, working my way out to tighten it down evenly. And I got it pretty tight. I think we're gonna be fine. It's just been sitting, really, because I only did this yesterday. So after I cleaned that and got all the oil and everything off of there, I tightened everything back down, and then started the car, let it warm up, gave it some revs. I didn't drive it because I believe we have a motor mount issue that I'll show you guys in a second. I didn't notice any leaks or anything there. Everything up top seemed good. And the leak stopped. Like, it stopped dripping, it stopped building up on the bottom of the bell housing. So I was like, okay, awesome. That was our problem. It was the valve cover. And now we have that one little circle where there a few drops have been. So I'm wondering if it could be that some of the leftover oil that's still on the side of the block, and there still is some on the side of the block, but it seems like that could be what is going there. And if it continues to be an issue, we keep seeing oil there, then we're going to have to pull the trans and see if there's oil inside the trans in the bell housing, because there's not supposed to be. And if there is, then we know, okay, rear main seal, then we gotta pull the clutch and the flywheel and all that fun stuff off, and then we'll have to torque them down again, and that's going to be fun. So if it comes to that, we'll see. I was going to say we'll pull the motor, but we'll see, because then I have to drain the radiator, I have to drain the oil. We'll see. I hope not. I really hope not. That would suck. Okay, now on to the motor mount. If you look down there, you can see how the top section right there isn't, it should be sort of centered on the mount there, and it's not. And I believe that mount tore. We're going to check it out and see. We'll attach the engine hoist to it. We'll lift up on just this side and see if it lifts up, and then if it is detached, then we know for sure that it is. And if it's not, then I'm not sure what happened and what caused the motor to lift so high, but I believe that's what it is, because when we were on the dyno and the tuner was testing out the rev limiter, I noticed the motor shaked a good amount. When it's not on the rev limiter, the motor doesn't shake at all. Everything's fine. It's perfectly still. So it was just when it was on the rev limiter that it started shaking. I think I hit the rev limiter actually on that pull that I did, so that could have caused it. But again, I mean, these are super old mounts. They're 25 plus years old. I don't even know what year motor this is. I just know that this motor has 60,000 miles. So yeah, so we'll go get the engine hoist over there, and then we'll bring him over here, lift this side up, see what we can find, and I have a feeling that it is the motor mount that is bad. So we got some on the way anyways, so that's good. And then once we get that out, then we'll pull the car out, check the oil leak out. was right. Well, that's awesome. That's good to know. Yeah, it just sort of sheared off. So yeah, that's not good. So we definitely need the mounts. Good thing they're on their way. I ordered them a few days ago, so hopefully they can show up sometime next week. So now I'm gonna start the car, let it warm up, let the oil thin out. I want to hear the motor. I like hearing the motor. I mean, we got it running, so let's hear the motor. So guys, it is actually the next day. It's all nice and bright out, but we did start it up, and I didn't end up washing it off last night. But if you look under, that stain has not gotten any bigger. It's actually drying. So I'm thinking we might be right as far as it being the valve cover gasket that was causing the leak. It's still dry down there, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that that was our issue and that we are now golden. And then we're actually going to mount the wiper motor because unfortunately, so I moved the fuel pressure regulator and I actually made a bracket for it. It was just out of some angle, so it's nothing special. And then I just used some riv nuts and we got some 1/4 bolts bolting it to there, and now it's pretty sturdy on there. Like, it's not going anywhere. I put it in the place that I did because of our fuel line. We don't have a lot of room to adjust the fuel line. I spent quite a lot of time trying to figure out how to get the fuel line set up, and this is the only way. Like, if I want to have it on the over here, which I do, I don't really want it on the strut tower, then this is the only way. Because the RB fuel rail is so weird, it's not like how it is up here, how it's just going straight up. It is actually pointing in the same direction that like the injectors are pointing, but pointing towards the camera right now. So getting the fitting on, if I put a straight fitting, then I couldn't get it up high enough to here, and if I put a 90, it would be like huge like loop and then in, and it just wasn't going to work any other way. I had straight fittings to try it with, and that was the only way that it was going to be working out. So that's just where we are with that. We don't have any fuel leaks or anything. It holds fuel pressure perfectly, like there's no issues with that, so it's gonna be fine. But I am going to paint this bracket because it is just regular steel. I didn't paint it or anything when I threw it on. I just threw it on just to get it on and make sure it worked. If you saw the dyno day video, you'll know that it was pouring rain, and I threw the wiper motor in so we can use the wipers, and it hits the fuel pressure regulator. You can sort of tell right there that it hits the fuel pressure regulator, but it can't go up any higher than there. And you can see that's the original bolt hole for it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna end up keeping it like this, and we're just gonna bolt it as it is. I'll put 3 riv nuts in, and then we can bolt it to there like that. There's just no other way that I'm gonna be able to mount it, and I do want to be able to use the wipers. Yeah, so that is that. We'll get that sorted, and we'll probably clean up the wiper motor a little bit, maybe paint it, and just so it looks cleaner because it looks pretty ugly how it is. So we'll just do a little cleaning up for there and get it decent. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I ran into a little bit of an issue as far as mounting the actual wiper motor. We got the top one in, no problem, but the bottom 2 are going to be super hard, and I think this one is going to be nearly impossible just because I can't get my drill in this small area. I might be able to get it in for the one under this side, and that would help for sure, because when we turn the wipers on and have them going, you can see that the motor moves, and that's much better than what it was with just the single bolt in. It was like moving in and out too, which was all bad, and it ended up causing it to blow a fuse. I think we would be fine with just this one, but I'm going to see if I can get one in on the bottom on this side too. So I wanted to come down under here and take a look and make sure everything was still dry, and everything is pretty dry. Like, even the ground, there's no wet spots anymore. Everything up here is pretty dry. I think it was just some leftover that dripped down to there and then dripped onto our napkin that we put there, or paper towel. So I think we're good. I think that was the issue, is the valve cover. So I think we're good. I think the valve cover gasket was the issue. I think I just didn't tighten it down enough. I don't think we're gonna have to pull the motor, which is very, very good news. We are going to have to lift the motor though, so we can change that motor mount there. And we're also going to be changing the intake side motor mount as well. I sprayed some parts cleaner along the side of the motor, and now I started the car up after wiping it down and making sure that we don't get any more leaks. But I wanted to show you guys something cool about the Hks Blow-Off Valve. You can see how it has this red part in the middle. When there's not a whole lot of pressure in there, like not a whole lot of boost, instead of the whole thing coming back and letting air out, just the middle section will do it. So I'm gonna see if I can get it to do that, and you guys can see what I'm talking about. The sound that RBs make is something else. It's crazy. Like, this is only a 2-liter and it sounds fucking mean. I love it. I love it. I wonder how much the exhaust is going to change that sound notes. I don't think it's going to change too much. I think it'll just quiet it a little bit. Yeah, so cool guys. We don't have the oil leak no more. Everything is good. Like, everything's all sealed. We don't have an oil or coolant leak. So we can check those off the list of things we need to fix. Now it's just motor mounts, exhaust, hood, a few other things that I can't remember off the top of my head. I just want to show you guys that blow-off valve thing because I think that's pretty cool. It's got the 2-stage, whatever, I guess that's why it's called the sequential blow-off valve, because it's got two stages for it, which is pretty cool. I mean, I don't know how much it helps, but... So right now I have the wiper motor and the fuel pressure regulator brackets both drying. I painted them both black. Hopefully it looks better in the engine bay having the motor black instead of that nasty like OEM color. It was all like dirty and gross. So we're gonna go check on those right now and see how they're doing. So the motor's still drying, but our bracket is all dry, so we can now throw this back on the fuel pressure regulator and get that all mounted up. So that's back on, and it looks good. It looks better than seeing that like surface rust and stuff that was originally on it. Now we're just waiting for the wiper motor. I'm only going to use the top 2 because that was as close as I could get for the bottom one, and it's not low enough. So that's unfortunate. It's a waste of a riv nut, but I mean that's just, it is what it is. We're just gonna have the top 2, and it's pretty secure like that. And I mean, we're in Southern California. It doesn't rain that much. I mean, look at the sky now. Now we have our wiper motor back on, and I painted the hardware too, and I think it looks pretty good. Like, I think it came out all right. You know, it's not bad. Way better looking than before. So like I said, it just has the top 2 because I could not get the bottom 2. So not the end of the world, but let's run it and see what happens. So now the wipers are going, and you can see, moves a little bit, but I think it'll be fine. It'll be good. Alright guys, so we got a good amount of things done today, so I'm going to end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you did, comment down below, and hit that subscribe button. See you guys next time. Peace.